The Spurs have a golden opportunity to right the wrong after their loss last night to the Chicago Bulls. Sometimes you have to sit on a loss. In this case, you don't have to. You can get that bad taste out of your mouth early, and this is a golden opportunity for the Spurs to do that. And we're going to break down how they can and will get a win against the Sacramento Kings today on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys here who tune in and day out to the content that we have coming here. If you haven't yet, take a spur of the moment, get every Spurs moment moving forward. But let's get underway with it without further ado. We've got last night's game, of course. We didn't get to do an instant post game, so I'm going to touch on it here real quick, but it will lead into this preview of tonight's game against the Sacramento Kings. A 15-point loss, to the Chicago Bulls, and this was a game that was really lost in the first quarter. Bulls got up 12. They never lost the lead there. The Spurs tried to battle back. They had some valiant efforts, especially in the third quarter when they put up 40. Spurs are showing you that they can score a bit, but overall, it was really a Chicago Bulls night. Vucevic had a very efficient, I believe, 39 points, and then they had Dosunmu, I believe that's his last, how to pronounce his last name. If not, I butchered it, sorry. But he had 27, 11, and 10. He was very good for the Chicago Bulls last night, and since we had won 4 in a row, we have lost 3 of our last 4. We have not had we did not have Wemby for the last game. Sochan did come back, which is an amazing sign because obviously he wasn't due back until the beginning of January, and he came back in the beginning of December. So that is such a great thing to see. He is showing on the court already at 16 and 14 last night. We'll get into the full box score here real quick. He had 16 and 14 in 36 minutes, still showing that he is in shape like he said he was going to be able to because he was able to still get workouts with that hand. You had Vassell still coming off the bench with 17. I'll be interested to see when they integrate him into the starting lineup, probably when his knee and his body's it's his foot, but when his legs, get a little bit more under him and continue. Stephon Castle has been playing fine in that role. He didn't have an efficient game last night, which is why you don't have to rush Vassell back into that starting lineup, which is a luxury that they have. But overall, the Spurs shot 8 of 28 from 3. When the Spurs are hitting their threes because their defense is so potent, they didn't show it last night, but their defense is so potent, they can pretty much beat anybody. When they're not hitting their threes, they need to muck up the game, and they weren't able to do that. And of course, when you don't have Wembanyama in the paint roaming around, that is a very tough thing to do. Actually, one thing I did want to say and I found interesting is Vassell said after the game, I think we always feel like we have a chance to come back and compete and win a game, but we don't need to keep putting ourselves in that position. It's tough. We keep trying to climb back in the first half, and it's tough. It's tiring. We just can't keep doing that, and he is correct in that. Obviously, you saw it when they came back against the Warriors, and they were able to do that. Last night, they tried to make valiant efforts. They've done it against the Lakers. They've done it against a lot of these teams where it is amazing that they don't have any quit in them, and that is great that they have no quit. They're going to play the full 48, but what they are doing is putting themselves in less than advantageous positions to try to actually get back into the game because they're constantly getting down by these wide, large margins, and they're trying to have to close that gap, and sometimes it's just too little too late for them to be able to do so. So, unfortunately, with them right now in the San Antonio Spurs, that is, they need to get off to good starts. And a good team to do it against would be the Sacramento Kings. There's one caveat we'll get to here in just a moment. But the Sacramento Kings, this is the first time we saw the Kings this season. We won by 20. This game, very fun game. Wemby had one of his first big games of the season. I know he had the 5x5 before that, but this is one of his true first offensive explosions. In 34 minutes, 34, 14, and 6, 13 of 22 from the field. He had 6 threes. This became a stretch where he was starting to hit the 3 ball at an insane clip. The Spurs as a team shot 22 of 46 for almost 50% from 3. You had Mamu coming in hitting threes. You had Champagne hitting threes. Castle hitting threes. Chris Paul hitting threes. Pretty much everybody who took a 3 in this game shot over 33%, which is something that is crazy to see. And on the other side, you had DeRozan, Fox, and Sabonis all win over 20 in this game. That's the first time we saw them. We did see them a second time. This was a great game. Again, the Spurs had to pull it out in the second half. They had a very good fourth quarter after getting down 12 points, because that's just what they do. First quarter, they play some of their worst basketball in the first quarter as a team, and then they managed to come back. And this was one of the games they were able to execute that comeback in full. And another sign here, 37 minutes, 34, 11, and 14, a triple-double from Victor Wembanyama. This game was only a few nights back. The team went 23 of 46 from three. Both outputs were the most threes that they had in the game all season long. That is because you have Wembanyama able to stretch the floor out. Sabonis is the one guarding him. He's not the quickest on his feet, so you're not going to have a guy who can really check Wemby out there. And he was hot in both games. And if he's going to continue to be hot in that aspect, he's able to shoot. That's going to lead to a lot of open threes for other people. You had Champagnie, he hit 4. You had Castle, he hit 2. Chris Paul, he hit 3. Keldon Johnson hit 4. You had a lot of different contributors. You had 6 of 8 from Devin Vassell. Let me not forget to mention that. But you had a lot of different contributors from the three-point line. All of this, clearly, for both games, the nucleus has been Victor Wembanyama. He didn't play last night. He might not be playing tonight. De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis in both games together, all three of them are averaging 24-plus in these games. So their big three is there. Jeremy Sochan is back. Devin Vassell is back fully. So to get the Spurs big three, we need to hope that the injury that Wemby suffered against the Phoenix Suns, he can come back from tonight, because they haven't played the Suns. They haven't played the Kings without Wembanyama, and clearly he's averaging 34, 14, and 9 on at least 5 threes a game, shooting over 49% from the three-point line in those games. He has been a man amongst boys in those games against the Sacramento Kings, and not having him tonight is going to make this a tall task. With Wembanyama coming back tonight, if he does, at this moment in time while I'm recording this, we have no idea. But if he does come back tonight and he is able to participate in this game for the San Antonio Spurs, the Spurs have a very good chance to right the wrong of last night, which was a loss, and continue to stay above 500. Dipping below 500, even if it's a game, it just makes it tough, especially in a Western Conference that is really loaded at the moment. This is the Spurs leading scorers right now. It's not... Obviously, you see Champagnie and Keldon Johnson have played pretty much every game this season. You have Sochan's played 9, but he's averaging 15, 9, and 3. You have Vassell's only played 8 games. That's 18, 2, and 3. And then obviously you have Victor Wembanyama, 23.5, 10, and 4. All of the Wemby and Vassell averaging about 3 threes a game. This is just what the capabilities of this team are showing, and they have a massive and a golden opportunity to come back after a loss. No one likes sitting on a loss, especially when you get to be at home, you get to be in front of your fans tonight. But the one thing I did want to point out real quick was this. The Spurs are at home. They've beaten the Kings twice, and they're actually 5.5-point underdogs. What Vegas is telling you there is they actually don't think that Wemby is going to play. And if that is the case, Vegas kind of has a little bit of that insight. I'm hopeful they're wrong, and obviously they don't know. No one knows until we know. So hopefully they are wrong and things can change. That line can get there. But if you feel like Wemby's going to play tonight, I'd bet that, honestly, because I think that 5.5 absolutely could be covered, and I think you could just put Spurs money line. But that is on a betting front that we don't need to talk about right now. But the Spurs have a golden opportunity here. Do you guys think that they can win this game without Victor Wembanyama, knowing how great he has been in the first 2 matchups against the Sacramento Kings? Or do you feel like the Sacramento Kings will have the upper hand in this game if Victor Wembanyama is not present on the floor with the San Antonio Spurs? Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. I think the Spurs can still get it done. It will have to come down to Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell will have to get to 20. Sochan is going to have have to have at least 5 in each column, points and rebounds for sure. He'd have to have +8, and I think 3 or 4 assists, because if you can get him going downhill and trying to get Sabonis in foul trouble, that will be great for everybody else on the roster. And then Castle's going to have a big game, and they're going to have to at least make 18 threes, because they've put up 22 and 23 threes respectively in the first 2 games they've played against the Sacramento Kings. But you guys let me know what you think about this game tonight in the comments. This has been Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon.